Hi everybody, we are about to enjoy a great prime rib dinner. We've got a 7-pound prime rib here that's been smoking all day. Check out this video to figure out how we make it step by step. Hey Spices, it's Andrew and Melissa's husband. Today we are smoking a prime rib. Whether it's for the holidays or another special occasion, prime rib is a solid cut of meat. In the store, a lot of times it's not called the prime rib, it's actually called a rib roast. And the reason I love this cut of meat is because of all the marbling. This is a grade A, which means there's a lot of fat, and where there's fat, there's flavor and tenderness. In preparing the meat, what I want to do first, before I get my rub on, before I do anything else, I'm going to cut the rib bones off until the base here. That's going to allow me to get more seasoning in there, and those ribs are going to add flavor to this wonderful prime rib. I'm using this awesome stainless steel graphite knife. Melissa actually got contacted by the company, and we got a set, and let me tell you, they are awesome. I'm cutting careful to get close to the bone. That way I keep the main prime rib intact. Here's my feather ribs. I've got them cut down to open up some space. Once you get your bones cut away from the prime rib meat, it's time to get the rub going. This is a generous amount of rub. I've got all sorts here, and the goal is to fully season the outside. You see, the meat is so big that we can't get inside to season it. So that seasoning is going to go on the outside pretty heavy and hopefully work in and go great with the whole cut of meat. So we're starting with 1.5 tablespoons each of salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of thyme, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of oregano, 2 tablespoons of granulated onion, 1 tablespoon of sage, and 3 tablespoons of rosemary. And for my first time, I'm going to grind the rosemary to kind of make it easier to eat so that it doesn't get in the way. And it's a way just to concentrate this meat with that great rosemary flavor. Right here I'm using a normal coffee grinder. These are great to use, designated for spices. I also used it to make that chipotle for my brother. Just a little bit to make that rosemary a little bit more fine. All right, it's time to start getting the rub on. I'm gonna start by drizzling some olive oil. That's gonna help capture that rub so that it stays on. Just a couple tablespoons. Again, I'm getting on the inside of the ribs. This is a 7-pound roast. It's got 5 bones, which is enough for our family and gonna be really special for a holiday dinner, or like I said, any other special occasion. We're gonna add lots of rub to it. Combination of spices is smelling amazing. And I might have a little extra rub, that's fine, as long as I don't run out. I even add the rub to the bone. You just want to saturate this meat with rub. Now, you can cook this in the oven if you're not into smoking. Cooking it in the oven will speed up the time of cooking. However, I can't beat that smoke flavor, and I'm really gonna enjoy spending time with the family as it cooks on the smoker anyway. After the rub is on, it's time to get the butcher string. The butcher string is going to tie these ribs back to the cut of meat, and that is gonna lock in that moisture and tenderness while also adding that bone flavor to the meat. Butcher string can be purchased or given a lot of times at the butcher block. And Just a simple knot will suffice. Now I've got the string on there, locking it and everything. I went about every inch, so there's 5 or 6 butcher strings on there. Once the string is on, it's time to cover it with some aluminum foil or plastic wrap, and then get that smoker ready. Getting the smoker started is much easier with this chimney. I first started out trying to build a pyramid, but the airflow wasn't good and it just took forever. My brother got me one of these chimneys and I've been hooked ever since. Inside I've got my wick of cloth and oil. That's going to eliminate any smell, and it also works really fast. Now it's pretty windy, as you can see. My wicks work pretty good, and we'll give it a check in a little bit to make sure it's burned. It burns quickly and those coals get heated up nicely. Now this is a medium-sized chimney. I've filled it to the brim with charcoal. I don't know, maybe there's 20 charcoal pieces in there. That's going to be enough to get this thing heated up quickly. Once I put them in here, however, when it's hot in about 15 or 20 minutes, I will add some more coals. You have to keep adding coals to keep that temperature up, but it's really a fun balance of trying to make it work just right. The other thing you need to realize that is every smoker is different. Sometimes adding 3 coals is enough to keep the heat. Other times you have to add 15. That's where the art of smoking really comes in. Learning the smoker, learning the technique, and really getting involved with this awesome process. Fresh grinding spices is gonna be one of my new hobbies. I made it with the chipotles for my brother's Christmas gift. You can check out my last smoking video to check out and see how that went. And if you notice, we did it with the rosemary today. This is our designated spice grinder. It's gonna make any spice taste instantly better. Freshly ground is the way to go. So I'm gonna clean it out just with a brush and my lid. And then if you grab a couple pieces of bread and grind that, it's gonna really get it cleaned up, all those fine little nooks and crannies, and also kind of neutralize the smell so you're ready for the next spice. Alright, our spice grinder is all cleaned up and ready to be used when we need it next. Alright, I just dumped my hot charcoals in, and I'm going to add a little bit more to keep that heat coming throughout the entire cooking. While it's heating up, I'm going to open the side vent and the top vent, increasing a lot of the airflow. This will heat up to about 250, my cooking temperature, in about 15 or 20 minutes. Then we'll be ready to add that prime rib. The smoker's reached temperature, so we're gonna get this prime rib on. It's gonna take about 4 hours to cook for this 7-pound roast. The fat side goes up, the bones are here, and we're gonna be ready in a couple hours. I chose to use mesquite wood for this. Mesquite wood is the richest, deepest smoke that you can find. Since the prime rib is so big, it really takes a lot of smoke to get inside. So we're gonna smoke the heck out of this. Lots of mesquite wood for most of the entire time. The prime rib's been on for a couple hours, which means I still have some time to get ready to make some homemade creamy horseradish sauce. What I'm going to do is start with extra hot horseradish, mix it with some mayonnaise and some fresh lemon juice, mix it together, and then you'll want to make sure you give at least 30 minutes for those flavors to meld together in the fridge. Then it'll be ready to go when that prime rib is out. So I'm going to roughly estimate 2 tablespoons of horseradish, along with about 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And I've got some fresh lemon here. Give it a little stir, cover it with some plastic wrap, and in the fridge will be ready in 30 minutes.
Now it's telling us it is done, so we're ready to take it off of the smoker.
It's been about 4 hours and our prime rib has finally reached temperature. I like mine toward the medium rare side, so I put the thermometer in at 120 degrees. It beeped at me and let me know it's ready. I'm gonna tin it with some aluminum foil, and in a little bit we're gonna enjoy a good holiday dinner. There's so much to be thankful for in our family. I have wonderful children and an amazing wife, and we love spreading some of these memories on to you. All right, it's tinted. That's gonna raise the internal temperature another 10 degrees, and mainly we want those juices to distribute. Doesn't that prime rib look awesome? Got a nice crust on the outside. That fat is drizzling all throughout. Really, this time it turned out perfectly. That temperature was right around 250 every second. And I have cut off the rib bones and they are on the stove. During that time, those ribs are gonna make an au jus, which is gonna make an amazing dipping sauce for this prime rib. We've also got this horseradish cream in the fridge. Everything's turning out great. You guys ready for some?
All right.
Merry Christmas!